Operation Mockingbird. So from the 1950s to the 1970s, the CIA covertly funded a number of leading domestic and foreign journalists from numerous media outlets like the Washington Post, Time, the New York Times, and CBS. So the CIA contracted all these major journalists to publish CIA propaganda. And this was known as Operation Mockingbird, as I told you. And it was first brought to the public's attention in 1975 by the Church Committee, which many of you who research these areas will see the Church Committee pop up time and time again. They were really great in the 70s in somehow pressuring governments to release documents. And I wish someone would be that good now, but it seems like there's a tighter seal on whatever government secrets we have. So Senator Frank Church, that committee was named after, claimed that misinforming the world cost American taxpayers $265 million a year in US dollars, which, counting by inflation, that's like billions a year. And that was Operation Mockingbird's budget. These CIA journalist spooks, that's my name I've come up with them for, because they're part journalists, but they appear to be normal journalists, but they're actually spies. They drew a CIA salary over and above their media salary. So you imagine that, you're getting a New York Times salary and then you get a nice little CIA salary on top. And after these, to prove once again that I'm talking conspiracy facts, and you guys, I really want you to do your own research beyond don't take my word for it. But after initial revelations, Congress admitted in 1976 that the CIA maintained a network of several hundred journos who provide, this is quote here, who provide intelligence for the CIA and at times attempt to influence opinion through the use of covert propaganda. Now, the CIA's involvement with media doesn't end there, however. In 1977, Washington Post journalist Carl Bernstein of Watergate fame reported that more than 400 journalists in the past 25 years have secretly carried out assignments for the CIA. And I think this is a telling one. Intelligence agencies' approach to manipulating news media is best summed up by a senior CIA employee. This was a comment he made to the Washington Post journalist Carl Bernstein. And the CIA employee said, one journalist is worth 20 agents. So that's tapping into the idea that if you can manipulate the people through propaganda, sometimes you don't even need to fight wars. You don't even need to have secret projects that circumvent democracy, because the people will be so brainwashed by the propaganda and this sort of Operation Mockingbird style propaganda that they will fulfill your desires, and they will vote accordingly, and they will turn a blind eye to things like the Patriot Act, or because they're so brainwashed. So here's a telling one, is that former New York Times journalist Deborah Davies wrote that by the early 1950s, the CIA owned respected members of the New York Times, Newsweek, CBS, and other communications vehicles. And lastly on this, I wondered if the CIA named this project Operation Mockingbird as they feel they are secretly mocking the public with all their lies, right? So it wouldn't surprise me that they take pleasure in naming it Mockingbird, because I happen to believe many in the elite have disdain for the general public.